Hello, wrestling fans, and Happy New Year. Welcome to the latest edition of the We Can't Wrestle podcast. I am Nate Maxon, your host, of course, joined by my brother Aaron.
Hello, everybody. I feel like we just spoke.
And yeah, we also recorded Reliving the Extreme this evening, so it's a double shot for the Maxon brothers. And of course, our co-host, Mr. Archie Mitchell, is here as well.
What's up, everybody?
And on this week's show, we are going to play a little game that Aaron and I have played before, and I think we once played it with Chad Austin as well. It is a random copy of the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Top 500, and each one of us are just going to just pick numbers out of a hat or out of our head. We'll each do about 5, and it's cool to go back in time and see what the results were. Sometimes you get a funny name or a guy where you're like, shit, I forgot that guy existed or something like that. And as a matter of fact, before we went on the air, Archie and I were talking about the fact that consuming your wrestling information just isn't as cool as it used to be. It was so cool to get your magazines, man. Me and Aaron's grandma used to take us to this fucking store that, you got to buy a bag of penny candy and she bought you a wrestling magazine and you were set.
Read More Bookstore.
Yes, Read More Bookstore. That's what it was called. So, just the nostalgia of looking through a magazine.
You got to actually read. I mean, yeah, we're reading our phones or we're on a website on a computer and we're reading, but reading it cover to cover and then a couple weeks going by and you having to go back and find a page that you read and see if what you read was right. And you know what I mean? It was just something, it hit differently.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I had not to be off topic or whatever, but I had this English teacher in middle school named Tony Dodge, and I wasn't the greatest student in the world. Okay, not that I'm dumb or anything, but my biggest problem was that I have ADHD and I have a big mouth, so I'd like talk a lot in class and want to make people laugh and shit like that. And our mom is like the greatest mom ever, but I remember I was in like a conference thing and mom was like, all he reads is wrestling magazines. That's all he wants to read is wrestling magazines. And Mr. Dodge is like, he should probably read more, but at least he's reading.
Right.
About the exploits of King Kong Bundy on the East Coast. Yeah, yes. Right. But yeah,
he's reading something.
Sometimes I'll go through my magazine collection. I'll sit here while I'm watching old wrestling or something and just get it. I have actually gone down the wormhole and just in a night by myself, quiet in the office or whatever, just read a whole magazine front to back.
Right.
And it's like, man, it's just, I don't know. It's just nostalgic. So, but what I have in my hands right now is the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Top 500 from 1993.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that. I mean, it's probably Hogan on the cover, but I'm thinking it might be Sting on the cover.
On the cover, first of all, $2.50 in the U.S., $2.95 Canadian, a pound 95 in the UK.
A steal anywhere.
On the cover it's not just one guy on this cover.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Bret Hart, Yokozuna, Shawn Michaels, Sting, Big Van Vader, Lex Luger, and Ric Flair on the cover.
Wow. Okay, so Hogan wasn't on the cover at all. All right.
No. And we will get this out of the way. I'll just go through here just to give you guys an estimate of where we're at. Number 1 in the PWI 500 for 1993. Anybody want to take a guess?
Sting.
Bret Hart.
What was that?
Bret Hart.
Sting.
It was Bret Hart.
Huh?
And number 5. And number 500.
Boogie Woogie Brown.
Garbage Man.
Yeah, Duke Josie.
Is that Duke Josie?
Mm-hmm. Garbage Man. Let's see. That's right. He insists on wrestling. I'd read the description here. He insists on wrestling in a sanitation engineer's uniform. Great trash talker, of course. Chicago native, Florida competitor. In return for guarantees, performs janitorial duties.
That is funny.
So,
I like how they said he insists.
yes, he insists on
Like
wearing.
he shows up and they're like, you can't wear that. And he's like, hey,
I insist.
if you want me here, I insist.
By the way, did you get that floor mopped?
As I was looking through, the magazine earlier too, you know what is another thing I thought would be a fun show to do sometime?
What?
Just get one of my PWI 500s from whenever. It doesn't even have to be one of, or not 500s, but get one of my PWIs from sometime out and just go through the rankings.
Right.
You know? But anyway, we'll each do about 5. Just give me a number that comes to your mind that you'd be interested to see who ranked at that number in 1993.
And just so you guys know,
no, go ahead, Aaron.
Just so the listeners know, if they haven't heard any of these shows, we didn't spoil anything because none of us have ever been like number 1.
Yeah, you don't care about that. You want to know who's like random 263 or something,
right?
So Archie, I'll give you the first pick.
I'd like to know who number 50 was in the 500.
Number 50. All right, let's see here. Let me get.
I'm guessing it's still going to be a WWF or WCW guy, because I mean their rosters were pretty deep back then.
Number 50 in the 1993 PWI 500 was Kensuke Sasaki.
Ooh.
5'10", 233, 7 years pro, not listed last year. Inconsistent in WCW, returned to Japan during 1993. Among the strongest Japanese wrestlers, exceptional power attack, including suplexes and hip toss variation, and a dynamic clothesline. Former IWGP Tag Champ with Hawk.
Yeah,
he was a Power Warrior.
Power Warriors.
Yes.
Yep.
I like Kensuke Sasaki.
I do too. I always enjoyed. He stayed away from the NWO. You know what I mean? They didn't put him in the NWO when they brought the Japanese guys over. When they did the WCW versus New Japan pay-per-view at Starrcade, I liked it. They let him go over Sting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then they gave him the U.S. title for a little while too.
Which he lost to the one-man gang.
Right. In a dark match, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was even worse. But I think that he was a great representative of Japanese wrestling at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
go ahead, Aaron.
I was just going to say, he was a good worker, and I'm not going to lie and be like, oh, I'm so knowledgeable about Japanese wrestling. But he's somebody that over here, as a Japanese wrestler, understood, how do I say it, like, understood how to work the American style. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, he toned down the King's Road style a little bit when he came over here. All right, Aaron, how about you pick next?
Arch said 50. I'll say 132.
Ooh.
132.
Jungle Jim Steele. No.
It'll be funny if it is. Number 132 in the 93 PWI 500, Junkyard Dog.
What was he doing in 1993?
Right?
6'3", 305, 14 years pro. Last year, he was ranked 112. Not hearing junk food dog chants as often since slimming down. Extremely popular in independence.
Slimming down. Read his weight.
305.
That's slimming down.
Right.
Extremely popular in independence, occasionally competes in WCW. Best maneuver remains the headbutt, WCW and WWF star for many years. So he was probably doing the indie.
That's what he was doing, and I know what he did in 93. That was when WCW thought it was a good idea to have Junkyard Dog team with Jim Neidhart.
Yep, you're right.
Oh, God, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was a tag team. Jesus Christ.
And they were both no longer way past their primes. Yes,
Right.
way on the coke and bloated and I'm not. I don't want to say. I'm not going to say neither one of them were talented people because they were both great characters and everything like that. But it's like neither one of them in '93 were
JYD's
like they were in fucking '86.
JYD is actually one of the bigger disappointments to me personally because when you saw what he could be if you watch him in Mid-South, when you saw that what he was there and just the ability that he had, the charisma that he had, and I'm not saying he lost his charisma, but he definitely lost his drive to be great and let his demons take over, and it's kind of sad to watch,
But you look at somebody like that, and that's going back into the '80s and early '90s, and you look at modern product with some of these wrestlers that happens today too. You know what I mean? They go to the bigger company after being in a Mid-South or an indie or whatever, and Junkyard Dog full of vigor, he's going, and then all of a sudden a few months in, he's like, they're paying me. I don't got to do it every night at my absolute best. You know
and I mean,
he
definitely in the WWF lived on, even though he was having his issues or whatever, he lived on his charisma. And I'm not saying he didn't pop those crowds and stuff. He was entertaining, but
definitely.
He definitely had lost his. I mean, and I'm not one of those guys, and Aaron and I have discussed this before. I'm not one of those guys that's like, he was great till he got to the WWF, because there were many guys who were greater in the WWF than they were elsewhere. Right. JYD is one of those guys. I will say he was better before he got to the WWF.
Yeah, and just bottomed out. I was just listening to Jim Cornette. I can't remember if it was the drive-through or the experience or whatever, but he was talking about when he started Smoky Mountain, and one of Rick Rubin's, I can't remember all the rules.
Oh yeah. He didn't want JYD.
Yeah, one of the rules was no JYD. Like, if you're gonna take my money, no JYD at all.
So I will pick next. I'm going to go.
Oh, sorry. I was also going to say that it's not the same as JYD, but I feel Neidhart's the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not saying Neidhart would ever been like WWF champion or anything like that, but I think he could have been a bigger single star than he was if he wouldn't have been fucking around with all that shit.
Yeah.
Because that dude had charisma for fucking days.
Mm-hmm. And a look.
The Hart Foundation wouldn't. Brett was great and is great, but that early I'm sorry, I don't mean to trail off, but that early Hart Foundation, Neidhart carried it.
Oh yeah,
on the promo side of it. You know, Brett Brett couldn't cut a fucking promo to save his ass. Neidhart was the charisma of it.
Right.
Brett grew into it, but they wouldn't have been what they were if it would have just not been for like Jimmy Hart and Neidhart. You know what I mean? So
perfect storm.
I think Jim gets looked past because of the fact that he had that fucking those demons that got bloated and shit.
Yeah. All right, let me see. I'm going to pick. I haven't looked at any of this because I like to be surprised too. I'm going to pick 363.
Ooh.
Let me flip.
Ham bone. Mr. Ooh La La or something.
363. Speaking of ham bones, it's actually a guy that Chad Austin knows, a friend of his, Mark Starr. This is number 363, 5'11", 235, 7 years pro. Last year he was ranked 278, so he's on his way down.
Wow, 60-spot drop.
Is usually found in Florida these days. Incredibly versatile wrestler for his age. Former Wildside member with Chris Champion. They won the CWA tag title in 1989. So, Mark Starr. I don't know a lot about Mark Starr other than watching him job on TV.
I liked him in WCW. I mean, yes, he was a job guy, but he had A lot of excitement when he would come to the ring, when they would give him an entrance.
Mhm.
And I liked it when they put him in the tag team Men at Work. And he actually got to win a little bit.
With Canyon, right?
Yeah, it was him and Chris
Yeah.
Canyon
Yeah.
in hard hats and jeans. But I mean, it just he
Which
was
Canyon
never
was like, I got that in my closet, bro.
right. I got don't worry, Mark. I got this in my closet. We don't need to even need to buy anything. But Buck was, he was one of those young up and comers that if they would have probably given him a push, he might have been able to do something with it. But you never know. But he always reminded me, though, and I don't mean this as any disrespect, but a broke man's Brian Pillman.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
had almost a similar look, a similar style, but yet Brian had more charisma and was able to get over it.
Right. Well, Archie, your pick is next.
Let's go with number 201.
201. All right, let's see. 201, the 93 PWI 500 is Toshiaki Kawada. You're just picking the Japanese stars this time around.
And you know what? I know nothing about Kawada. I can't even say anything about him.
Pick
Never
another
seen
number.
a single match.
Give me another number.
No.
5'10", 230, 12 years pro, 210 last year, so he's on the way up. More efficient than flashy, but that hasn't prevented him from becoming one of All Japan's most popular stars. Top contender for most federation titles, and there you go. That's it.
Yeah.
So we don't have a lot to say on Kawada. Aaron,
all I've
No, go
ever
ahead.
seen about Kawada is that when they would do like those carnivals, they'd call them championship carnivals.
Mhm.
It would always be like him versus Misawa,
Yeah.
or I know Vader beat him for the Triple Crown one time. So that's all I really.
Oh
can
yeah,
say
he
I
was
know
definitely
about him.
he was definitely a big star over there.
Yeah. So
I got no idea.
Well, give me a number.
Oh, I thought you were asking me
No.
Kawada. I was
give
like,
us your
Yeah.
love of Kawada. Tell us how much you love him.
Mom wouldn't even let us buy HBO. You think she's going to let us get fucking Japanese wrestling tapes?
from some random guy in the back of a Wrestling Observer newsletter.
Right.
I'm working for a
Right.
living. You like Cheerios and Doritos and shit?
No, I want to know about
Japanese tapes.
Mom. We don't need no Cheerios this week. I want Kawada.
Okay, a number. Let's go 157.
157. Let's see here. Number 157 is Moondog Spot.
Rough.
6'2", 298, 16 years pro. He was number 80 last year. The Moondogs again topped the USWA tag scene, but Spot's been sent toward the back of the kennel. He has been with the team since 1978, still carries a big bone. I don't want to know about his big bone, but I will say this. I was never a fan of the Moondog gimmick or the Moondogs.
It's weird.
I know.
Is Moondog Spot Larry Latham?
I believe so.
You can Google it if you want, but I don't have my phone by me. But if it is, he died in the ring, I do believe.
Yeah, and I'm not necessarily dissing it, and I you guys know I'm a big fan of Memphis wrestling, and the Moondogs did do some decent shit in Memphis. They were less cartoony than they were when they were in the WWF. They were more of like a hard like compare it like the Bushwhackers being the Sheepherders.
Right.
But I still was never a big fan of that team.
I never understood the gimmick enough to go, to get behind him.
And yes, Moondog Spot was Larry Latham.
Yeah, on November 29th, 2013, Booker suffered a heart attack in the ring during Jerry Lawler's birthday bash show in Memphis. He was rushed to a Methodist Central Hospital where he was pronounced dead at the age of 51.
I think it was 2003.
Did I say 2000? What did I say? 2001?
13.
No, you said 13.
Oh, sorry,
That's okay,
I
though.
read wrong. Yeah, 2003. Yeah, so yeah, he died in the ring,
which is unfortunate. And I like I said, I wasn't dissing the guys or anything when I said I wasn't a fan. I just wasn't.
Right.
The Moondogs deal wasn't my cup of tea.
I don't understand it. What is a moondog?
Right. What is it? Were they surfers? Were they cavemen? Were they
Surfing cavemen.
Surfing cavemen. Well, I mean, that's the way they could have been hobos for all I knew too, because they had strings holding up their pants. You know what I mean? I get it; they were dogs, but like, what wasn't one of the Moondogs said to be the other member of Demolition, and then he backed out?
Actually, what happened was it was Randy Colley, and he was the other Moondog was Spot and Rex.
Yeah.
And the reason that he did not continue as Smash was because when he wrestled as Smash, too many people recognized him and were chanting Moondog.
Rex. Right. That's yeah.
So yeah, he was supposed to be Demolition Smash, the other Moondog. Right. And by the way,
not have worked out as well.
Thank God it didn't work out.
As we do the shows, I always write down potential themes, the potential themes for the show or the subtitle. Surfing Caveman is at the top of the list right now.
I like it.
It's not as good of a gimmick as Caveman Lawyer, but
yeah, but I mean, as much as I love Archie, he's no Phil Hartman.
I'm a caveman.
Nobody's a Phil Hartman. Nobody is Phil Hartman.
All right, I think I'm next.
Yes.
I like the low numbers. I'm going with 422. 422.
Adam Pearce.
Was he born yet in 1993?
I'm assuming he's 40-something, Nate.
Okay.
Or 50. I don't know how old he is, but
422 is Killer. He's 6 foot.
Wait, that's it? I was expecting a second name.
No, it's just Killer.
Oh God.
He's 6 foot, 255, 8 years pro. Last year he was 232. The description: sadistic, partner of fellow masked man Psycho in the Texas Hangman tag team. Underrated if Brutal Duo has won the Brutal Duo has won the WWC and USWA tag titles, and he is currently in Midwest Independence. I don't even know who this might be.
Why don't I remember them from the
tried
USWA?
Googling it. I just tried Googling it. I just typed Killer Wrestler, and it came up with Jimmy Snuka.
TCB, brother, TCB.
I was gonna. Why don't I remember them from USWA? I used to follow USWA. I don't remember a Psycho and Killer.
Yeah,
I always thought the Texas Hangman tag team was Tex Slazenger and Shanghai Pierce when they were in WCW.
They didn't actually give them that name. They just called them Tex Slazenger and Shanghai Pierce. They never gave them a tag team name.
Oh, okay.
But there were multiple Texas Hangman tag teams all over the. But this Killer guy.
You know what's funny? I was watching WCW Saturday nights around the area. We got to talk about something because nobody knows anything about Killer.
Right.
When Shanghai Pierce and Tex Slazenger were in WCW, like that Atlanta crowd that was at that studio was like super into Dennis Knight.
Yeah.
For some reason, they just glommed onto Dennis Knight because he was Shanghai Pierce. Right now, he was Tex Slazenger.
He was Slazenger, yeah.
He was Slazenger.
Shanghai was Mark Canterbury in the mask. Yeah. But like when Mark Canterbury was in there, they'd be like, whatever, But as soon as like they tag in like Tex Slazenger, like those people were like, yeah, like getting into it and shit.
But the same thing happened with really the Godwins. It's when he was finished Godwin, he was getting over more than Henry was. I guess Dennis just had a way with the crowd.
It just cracked me up in that little fucking studio every week. All them little kids were going to that show, and all them like teenage dudes were like, Tex Slazengers are shit.
Yeah, it's just like and it's kind of it's not the same thing, but it's kind of the same thing. And Aaron already knows this. I've said it a billion times, but I love the fact that in the Manhattan Center, the Quebecers were like super over with that Manhattan Center crowd.
Yeah,
when they were those early Raws. Yeah,
they were the guys that were there every week. Mm-hmm. You might not see Brett this week. You know, you might not see
But you were
Sean,
seeing
but I
Jacques
guarantee the
Pierre.
fucking Quebecers are going to be here.
Oh
We're
yeah.
not the Mounties.
That
Yeah.
fucking shit where they're singing in the ring and the camera pans up or whatever, and fucking Raven and the Quebecers are singing it, and the entire Manhattan they're singing it with them. It's like, this is fucking ridiculous.
All right, Archie, give me a number.
76.
76.
There'll be another Japanese.
No
guy.
Japanese, no Japanese, no Japanese, no Japanese, no Japanese, no whammies.
Turn the page. Let's see here. Number 76, Nasty Boy Jerry Sags.
Ew, I hate the Nasty Boys.
6'3", 270, 7 years pro. Last year he was 104. He and Brian Knobbs, the Nasty Boys, seek WCW tag title to accompany their WWF belt. Excellent flying elbow off the top rope. Adequate solo skills. Better off in tag competition. Now, let me tell you. I'll tell you.
Don't hate the Nasty Boys.
I do not. And I was going to say this. And I will let you elaborate, Archie.
Mm-hmm.
My thing about the Nasties is they were one of those teams that it depends who they're with. Because there are some teams that bring them up that they really work well with, i.e. Cactus Jack and Kevin Sullivan, or the Steiner brothers. Or the Hearts. They have the Hearts, but they also don't sleep on the fact they had some really good matches with the Rockers too.
Yeah, and it's just they were friends.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll let Archie go first if he wants.
All right.
Let the hate go first.
It's not that I hate them like I despise them. I can't say. Early 80s, them fighting the Steiners in WCW, I enjoyed them. They were young, up and coming, and the Steiners and them blew the roof off of many of WCW events. Early WWF days in the 90s, again, the Hearts. I even thought they had great matches with the Natural Disasters too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when Jimmy left Earthquake and Typhoon and went with the Nasty Boys and with Money Inc. and you know what I mean. It was great. I don't like Nasty Boys over the last 10 years because when they went back to TNA or into Impact or whatever you want to call it. I understand everybody wants a payday. Hogan was a part of the company. He got them a job, whatnot, but they tarnished their legacy from how bad they were in the ring. And how over, you know, they were sucking wind within the first 2 minutes, and you know what I mean. So it's not that I hate the Nasty Boys. It's just I feel like they kind of crapped on what they already did in the past, which was a pretty damn good legendary career.
Yeah.
To get one more payday.
They jumped the expression "jump the shark." Yeah. The Nasty Boys as a team jumped the shark in like '96. Like that was that was the end for me.
I'd even put it in before that, like '95. They're like after
they were still having good matches with Harlem Heat in '95.
I know, but they weren't having they weren't the Nasty Boys that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know what I mean? Exactly. Like to me, like actually one of my favorite matches just to sit down, like if I'm gonna sit down and just watch a match, I don't know if you guys have that. Like, okay, well, there's this pay-per-view, but I don't watch the whole pay-per-view. I just want to watch this match. That fucking Halloween Havoc match between the Steiner brothers and the fucking Nasty Boys.
Oh yeah.
What, 1990, I think. Mm-hmm. It's fucking great. It's fucking fantastic. And like their match with the Hearts at WrestleMania, and their feud with, like Nate said, with like Cactus and Max Payne.
Oh my God, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking great. But in like 95, and I understand it, but about 95, both of them were like,
right.
Probably not anymore.
Then it was okay, let us feud with the Public Enemy every week. And then, we're going to join the NWO. Okay, we're gone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I just, like, after that, it was like, okay, I could see them, like, being on an indie show or maybe making an appearance here or there. But when they still thought they were going to, like, get over, like, on teams like Team 3D, the Dudley Boys, and, you know, teams that needed to come up the rankings, it was like, dude, you need to get out of the business now.
Oh, yeah, they were definitely, I mean, by that time, they were definitely like 3-day-old microwave pizza. They were not exceptional at all. But
just speaking of Jerry, because he's the guy that Nate picked, he was the worker of that team.
Oh yeah.
Like Knobs. I'm not gonna knock Knobs because he was what he was, but like Jerry Sags is actually a pretty good.
No, Jerry's this. Knobs is the personality of that team. Like,
Jerry's a good fucking wrestler. I thought.
I agree.
And like they said in his little blurb or whatever, that fucking elbow he did was great.
mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And then Dusty Rose would be like, "Bibbit." I don't know why he said "Bibbit" every time he would go for that elbow, but he'd say "Bibbit."
Aaron, it's your turn to give me a number, though.
What was the last number I gave you? Do you remember?
Nope.
Was in the 300, 330, 363. I think it was.
Well, let's go right in the middle, 250.
250. All right, let's see.
There's probably a staple in the middle of it.
No, but I love this magazine because it even has the poster in it. You don't find that a lot in
Who's the
other
poster?
magazines. It's like it's the close-up of Bret Hart. So it's got his little profile thing and everything, but then you fold it out and there's a poster.
All right.
250. Can I get there? There we go. Oh. We have made fun of this man a lot on Reliving the Extreme.
Is it Chris Michaels?
No. Metal Maniac.
The Metal Maniac is 250?
Yes, 6'2", 268, 2 years pro. Last year he was 482, so he is climbing the ranks.
He climbed the ranks, yeah.
Jimmy Snuka slipped Bill Apter some money. Metal Maniac competed in Jordan, Europe, and the U.S. this year. Incredibly powerful bear hug. Sports war paint to psych out opponents. Negotiating with Japanese promoters for 1994.
Notice he said he's negotiating. Didn't get booked.
Right.
Perfected.
He's like, hey, I know Jimmy Snuka. Do you want to book Jimmy Snuka? We love. Oh yes, we love book Jimmy Snuka.
I do his laundry, man. I do his laundry.
I speak of the English for him. Anyway, go ahead.
The only thing left was perfected flying elbow smash as best finishing maneuver. I have never seen anything.
I've never seen that dude do a flying elbow smash.
I've never seen that dude do anything I liked to see.
I've never even seen him leave his feet to get pinned by Jimmy Snuka.
Right.
You want to know my biggest exposure to the Metal Maniac before he was in ECW? You guys remember the company WCCW?
Oh yeah.
It was all right. They used to have an opening montage when the show would start, and the first 30 seconds was Jimmy Snuka beating the hell out of the Metal Maniac.
Of course it was.
And that was all I remember about him.
Because from 1992 to early 1994 on the East Coast, Jimmy Snuka beat the shit out of Metal Maniac all over the place.
Every night, right.
Yes, and then they would be like, next, Tom Brady versus King Kong Bundy.
Right. Jimmy will be signing autographs by the bar in just a few minutes.
Yeah.
Who was his driver before that? Was it who was on the dark side of the ring with Snuka? Said he was in the car with him and
was it Tama?
I think it might have been Tama. Tama was like, I ain't doing that no more.
Yeah, not anymore, brother.
You're Uber driver no more, buddy.
It's like, you're on your own.
And the Metal Maniac was like, I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll do it.
How many bodies do you think he threw in a ditch?
All right, I'll pick next.
Why am I smacking around Jimmy Snuka tonight?
I don't know. That's all right.
Well, no, it is.
He's a murdering fuck.
He's a murdering fuck.
Right.
I'm going to pick 422.
Oh, it might have been Samu. I think Samu was the guy on the dark side of the ring.
Maybe.
Oh, I already picked 422. That must be in my head because that was killer. All right, so I'm going to pick 322.
That's Psycho.
That would be fucking fantastic. Number 322 is Ricky Gonzalez.
Name sounds familiar.
6'1", 215, 6 years pro, not listed last year. He is a native of Harlingen, Texas, near the Mexican border. Has been on champion tag teams in several Lone Star-based federations, including the AWU. That would be a hard wrestling.
AWU.
That would be a hard wrestling name, like federation name for the broadcaster, you know?
AWU.
AWU. Fuck.
We'd like to welcome you to the AWU.
The American Wrestling Universe? What does it stand for?
World Wrestling Underpants.
American Wrestling Underpants is on the air.
No pants at all here.
Salute your shorts, everybody. It's time for a great card of wrestling action. Yes, sir, we got a great main event for you here tonight. All right.
Gonzalez.
Ricky Gonzalez.
Is he a heel?
Huh?
Is Ricky Gonzalez a heel?
It doesn't say.
Did he stain that company? Did he stain the World Wrestling Underpants? Or did he have a major streak?
Jesus.
Okay, my turn again.
Yes.
All right.
One of the wrestlers is Whitey Tighty.
Look here. Tonight I beat.
They have a couple boxers.
I was about to say, tonight I beat the boxer.
Yeah. They had a guy, and he was a two-sport athlete. He's a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what his other profession was?
What?
He was a jockey.
They had an excellent tag team too, Aaron. You hear about him?
Yeah.
Frank Fruit and Jose DeLume.
Frank Fruit. That sounds like an indie result from Slice of Time. I'm just saying.
together they make Fruit of the Loom.
Michael Jordan is their spokesman.
Yes. All right, I'm gonna go with number 165.
165. 165. This is a guy we all know from the Attitude Era. Not yet, but here he is. Vampire Warrior.
Ooh,
Gangrel.
6'3", 263, 5 years pro, not listed last year. Wears fangs and also the USWA Southern Belt after beating Jeff Jarrett. To make things even scarier, he's an ally of Luna Vachon when she's in Memphis, and he's extremely mysterious.
I would call him a little more than an ally, weren't they married?
Yeah, a little bit more than an ally.
He was sticking it in.
Yeah.
He was actually pretty goddamn good.
He was. He really was. As a tag team wrestler with the Blackhearts, I thought he was great.
I just think individual, like honestly, I think that guy's biggest problem was the fact that he didn't have a body that Vince McMahon liked.
Right.
Like I think and Nate, you might get this. I think he suffered from the Tony Anthony syndrome.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know he was.
Gangrel could, and I know he's Vampire Warrior here, but Gangrel could talk.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're talking 93, so it's a different thing. But Gangrel could talk. He could work. And the Gangrel gimmick was fucking over.
Oh, it was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It was over. When that goddamn music would hit, people would just be bouncing to it and shit.
Aaron, it recently hit again. On Monday Night Raw, they did a thing with Edge and Miz, where Edge gave Miz a bloodbath. And then it hit a couple months ago when Edge was facing Seth Rollins. And the fans are still popping for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just don't think that David Heath fit the mold of what Vince McMahon thought a wrestler should look like, and that is the only, I shouldn't say the only thing, but that's my main complaint about WWE now is like, oh, this guy doesn't look like what his superstar should look like. You know what I mean?
Right.
He also is right up there with D'Lo Brown as a guy that was actually hurt by the fact that Vince Russo left.
Yeah. That was his pushing point, exactly.
Because that's what I'm saying. Like Vince Russo had shit for him and was getting him over, and then Vince Russo leaves, and then just Vince is like, oh, look at that fat fucker over there.
Well, but also they paired him 2 different times with 4 guys who were going to end up being breakout stars.
Mm-hmm.
You know, first the Brood was Edge and Christian with him. Edge was pinned to be a superstar from day one, and Christian slowly climbed up the ladder to becoming one of the best. And then they put him with the Hardy Boys. Like, you know, that you basically made him Marty Jannetty without even telling him. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, here, you get these kids over. Oh, okay. And then what do I do? We're going to fire you. You know?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you watch, like, when the Brood first was able to, like, cut promos, like, the first time they sent him out there, Gangrel did a good job. And then they gave it to Edge, and Edge shit the fucking bed.
Oh, yeah. Edge was horrible as a vampire.
But if you're, like, a Vince McMahon and his mindset, he's looking at Edge, who is tall, good looking, has a good body on him.
Girls are swooning over him.
Girls are swooning over him or whatever. When Edge first started cutting fucking promos, they were fucking trash.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And Edge, honestly, wasn't even that great when he first started wrestling. Like
he
in his first match, he fucking killed Jose Estrada.
He almost
fucking ended that guy's career. Broke his goddamn neck. Like he flips the ropes, lands on his neck.
Jose's neck was already having problems with his neck. Edge made him worse, yes.
And is visually on camera going, oh shit. Like I fucked that guy up.
Edge recently did a shoot interview, and he said when he did it, he came back in the ring, and Tim White, who was the referee, looked at him, hey kid, what? I think he's out cold. You may want to bring him back in the ring. So,
I just think
Gangrel should have, you know, whatever he was, Vampire Warrior, he's Gangrel. He would have made for at least a decent European or Intercontinental champion. You know.
Yeah, which I think he had the European title, but just for a hot second.
Like a week, yeah.
Yeah.
But my end of it is, I just think the guy got a raw deal in the WWE.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. And on that note, we take a little break. I got to pee, and I'm going to grab a drink.
You're good. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'll be back in 1 second as well. Anyway, here.
Oh, Jesus.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm just getting over my cold. Or it was more than a cold, but
Yeah, we've been dealing with that here too. We got a little bit of a, I don't know. The wife's thinks she has bronchitis.
that's what I have.
Yeah, and
I thought I had I was afraid I was getting COVID.
right, that's what we thought too.
And usually I get like once a year I'll get sick and like here, and I know I say here, but it's like we're on the same side of the fucking country or whatever. But I
Right.
don't know how the weather is there, but like here one day it'll be like 57 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll leave the house and you're like, oh, I don't need this jacket. It's fucking
Right.
57 degrees. And
Right.
then you go to work and then you come outside to smoke a cigarette like 4 hours later and you're like, it's 32.
Yep.
Jesus Christ. And that fucks with me. You know what I mean? Because your body doesn't know what to do.
All right. The day before my son's birthday, it was legitimately 66 degrees outside with sun and no wind, right? That was the 18th. The 19th, it dropped to 40 and it was raining all day. Okay. The next day, it was 40 and no rain, but cold and windy. The day after that, it was back to 65. And then we got 2 days of 50. And then for Christmas and Christmas Eve, it was 30 degrees outside, freezing cold. How do you not get sick in that kind of weather?
Yeah.
Whether you're dressed up or not, you know?
Yeah, and that typically happens to me. And I usually have it for like 2 days and then I'm over it. This shit lasted like a fucking week. And I was just hacking and heaving and all this shit. And I never leave work, but I left work and went to fucking urgent care. And they ran me through all kinds of shit. Like I was like, I need you guys to give me. I took 2 COVID tests on my own,
right,
just to make sure I didn't have it, and they both came back negative. Luckily, they gave me one there, and that came back. And it just turned out after they did all this shit to me that I had fucking bronchitis, and they gave me these pills that fucking have stopped me from coughing. That was my biggest fucking problem. Was I just couldn't stop coughing.
Right.
Like I can be congested all fucking day and do my job, but if all I'm doing is just like hunkered over in a fucking corner coughing, it's like I can't function this way.
Right, and now people are looking at you thinking you have COVID even though you know you don't.
It's like I'm like, get the pitchforks away from me. I'm not.
We were in Walmart. We were in Walmart 3 weeks ago. I have a mask. I have gloves on. I have sanitizer in my back pocket sticking out. And we're in the kids' area buying stuff for my granddaughter. And I let out a cough. And this 6'5" black guy turns around to me and goes, "Damn, man, you could look the other way." Now, I wasn't even looking at him, man. I was turned away. I'm like, "Sir, I apologize, but I'm wearing a mask and I have sanitizer on me, and I actually have both of my vaccination cards in my back pocket. I'm fully vaccinated." Mind you, he's not wearing a mask, Aaron. And he goes, "Yeah, but still, you can still catch that shit from other people." I'm like, "Sir, I don't have COVID. I don't understand what the problem is." I said, "But you're the one not wearing a mask, so why are you acting like I'm trying to give it to you?" Yeah. And he looked at me and went, "Huh," and he walked away. I'm like, Jesus Christ, over a cough?
Yeah, people are ignorant.
People are dirtbags.
So now when I do cough, I try to like pull my hoodie over my face and cough real low.
Let's see here, 50. All right. Aaron, you're next. Pick a number.
He's got like 3 more numbers left or something.
A couple more.
You're on your third. I just did my third.
We'll each go 3 more numbers. Let's do that. Some kind of if that's okay with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. And I will go. This is the most fun I've had in a while. In sync. Let's go 75.
Number 75 is Jimmy Snuka.
Oh God.
Are you serious? Are you
Six.
fucking, are you serious?
Yeah, 6 foot, 250, 24 years pro. He was number 97 last year, so he's actually gone up.
Came down, right?
Superfly can still soar, brother. A champ in ECW and other independents. Renowned for flying body press off the turnbuckle. Slowed a bit. All-around skills are sometimes overlooked. Slowed a bit is an understatement.
I thought I was like, did he say slowed a bit or slow a little bit? A little bit slow.
He by this point he just like mainly worked with people that were like a metal maniac or somebody that just wanted to work with Snook on the independents, and he stood around like a tree, gave them chops, and then did the Superfly splash, and you went home. And that was it.
Also, to me, a guy that is like the ultimate warrior. Okay? Like, I'll explain it this way. This is how I feel about Jimmy Snuka. When I was a kid, I was a huge Jimmy Snuka fan. Okay? When I was a little guy, fucking loved him. Why wouldn't you? Right?
Right.
Built like a fucking shit brick house. Fucking crazy eyes, all that shit. Actually pretty goddamn good in the ring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the older you get and the more you hear about it and the smarter you get to what a fucking human being is supposed to be, you can't look past what the fucking guy was.
Yeah.
A human. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Terrible human being.
Terrible fucking human being. Piece of shit human being. And when I look at him now, I'm like, I can understand. I still look at him and watch his matches and shit. I can still watch his matches and be like, okay, I understand why that guy's a great wrestler. But then he's a guy that I can't separate the
character from the real person. Right.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, it's the same reason I have trouble watching Chris Benoit still.
Right.
Yeah, it's like you know what you fucking did.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you fucking did. And
right, and with the case with Snuka,
it's also one of the things that, and I hate when people pile on to Vince McMahon, but it's also one of the things that I can't look at Vince McMahon and say, you didn't know what you fucking did.
Right.
Like, you know what that fucking guy did, and you fucking helped bury it. And that's one of, like, the three things that I will say Vince McMahon was a piece of shit in this situation. That whole thing with Jimmy Snuka and that girl, I can't fucking look past it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't.
See, Nate mentioned not being able to watch Benoit, and that's after the fact, because if we watch Benoit on WCW or WWF or WWE, he didn't do anything yet. It wasn't until, whatever. With Snuka, we're watching Snuka after he already murdered somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what makes it even worse, because as we were children, we're like, oh, this guy's a hero. Okay, great. We got a little older. He's like, okay, he slowed down, but it still brings back a fun childhood memory. Now in our 40s, we're like, dude, this guy killed somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
got away with it.
Got away with it.
Can I say this? I will classify what Vince McMahon and the WWF or whatever they were at that time, what they did was the same goddamn thing that Puerto Rico did with Invader 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
They let somebody murder somebody and just shut it down.
Right. Swept it under the rug.
Swept it under the rug. Nope. Nope. And it's as sick as that was, in my opinion.
I totally agree.
I didn't mean this fucking PWI 500 thing to go dark.
Well, the name came up, and that's what it is.
I also think it's funny that I bashed the guy like 3 times and then I picked him.
The next number I'm going to pick is 401.
Invader 2.
Let's see here.
Got a bit stabby in 1988. I don't know what year Bruiser Brody was killed. Sorry.
Oh, God, I don't even know who this person is. Did I say 401 or 402?
2.
All right. I don't know who this is either. 402. His name is Adrian Hall.
Oh, you don't know him? I'm being serious.
6'2", 215, 4 years pro. Last year he was 269. Yes, another effeminate wrestler named Adrian. The insatiable one frequently wears makeup in the ring. Despised, but has won many regional titles in Maryland and vicinity. No, Archie, I have no idea who Adrian Hall is.
He was just like Adrian Adonis, and a little bit of exotic Adrian Street, all mixed into one. You know the guy from Ring of Honor, Dalton Castle?
Yes.
Okay, it was basically Dalton Castle, but with big blonde hair, put into 2 puffy pigtails at the top of his head, and then a mullet in the back, and face paint.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was weird.
By the way, what happened to Dalton Castle? I was a big fan of that guy.
Well, if he was in Ring of Honor, he's now.
Well, no, I mean he just faded away from there too.
He fucked his back up because if you remember, they did that peer tournament, and he was in that for a little bit, and he was wearing that weird ass back brace thing when he was still working.
Okay.
He was trying to get back into the main picture of things, but now they're going out of business, so they don't know what they're doing.
I would assume if I'm a Dalton Castle and my back's fucked up, and Ring of Honor's telling you we're shutting the shutters for a little bit, but they said they were still paying people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If I'm Dalton Castle, I'd be like, all right, my back's fucked up. I'll just sit at home and fucking collect my check.
Heal up.
I'm not knocking Dalton Castle. You know what I mean?
Right.
That would be the best. That would be my fucking thing. Is like, I hurt my fucking back. You guys are still going to pay me. I'll sit at home, and that's what I'm assuming that's what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And if ROH doesn't open back up, AEW will pick that guy up in a minute.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
I don't see him in the WWE, but I would think AEW would pick him up.
Fuck, they pick up everybody.
Also, that guy's name.
They're going to have the biggest goddamn roster in the history of wrestling here shortly.
Nah, they'd have to go a minute for WCW 1999.
Yeah, look at the card of Dark Elevation. I'm just saying.
No, I won't.
Oh God, those dark guys,
Nate,
those shoes.
Nate, write that guy's name down that you said. What was his
Adrian
name?
Hall.
Anthony Michael Hall.
Adrian Hall.
Yeah, write that name down and save it because you said he worked in Maryland. Chad might know him.
Okay. Dig into that at some point. All right, Archie, it is your turn again.
498.
498.
This is gonna be a fucking ham bone.
Oh, you guys are gonna love this name, Mr. Loverman.
Shabba.
Yeah, as you say, Shaggy. Bombastic.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me. Yeah.
He'd be a great heel. Like Mr. that guy, you spiked that guy. It wasn't me.
I don't have anything to say. I'll read his blurb.
Frequently wrestles in a dress, wears wig and makeup. Key West native, rumored to be part woman.
Which part?
Could he be Miss Texas's next male opponent in their side of the ring? That's his whole. Let me see.
Texas is Miss Jacqueline.
Yes, 5'6", 230, 3 years pro, not listed last year.
Which part of him is female?
I don't know, but he's
Don't ask
boombastic, I
questions
think.
like that. Don't ask questions like that, Eric. Sorry, you go with $4.99. You're like, okay, it's like the last guy on the list. How bad could it be?
All right.
Mr. Loverman.
I don't have anything to say about this guy, but I think it's funny that even though Mr. Loverman isn't anything about Shaggy or Mr. Boombastic, but since I have nothing to say about this guy, I'll ask something again that has nothing to do with wrestling. Who on this podcast is a fan of Mr. Bean?
I am.
Roland Atkinson. Mr. Bean.
Yep.
Watching that dude as Mr. Bean dance to Mr. Boombastic.
Oh, God, yes.
Funniest goddamn thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
I agree.
It's fantastic.
What is your next number, Aaron?
Let's go with 136. 136.
All right, let's see. 136 is this is a guy we've discussed recently, I think, on the show. Black Bart.
Yep.
Maybe not on this show, but one of our shows. Black Bart versus One Man Gang. That was on Slice of Time last week. Black Bart, 6'4", 261, 13 years pro. Last year he was 212. This brawling rule breaker from the Pecos is well known throughout Texas wrestling. A former world-class champion, now in Global, intensely feuded with Bill Irwin throughout 1992, so I know Aaron would have loved that feud.
That was trash.
Yeah.
World class. Don't know. Bill Irwin looks like a squid Billy. That's the titles of our show. One of our shows. Bill Irwin's a squid Billy. But go ahead.
But we're talking about Black Bart right now.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, before I exposed myself to watching. Yeah. Glad I clarified that.
Yeah, you put too much of a pause right there.
I become Bill Clinton at some point. But listen,
for a minute, I was like, I don't think Nate knows that he's talking to me. And I was like, it's the holiday season still, so I'm gonna keep my mouth shut because Nate was like, back when I was younger, and I exposed myself to the entire bus,
the girls in the confessional. Anyway, all I knew before I watched territory wrestling and started becoming a smart fan, et cetera, and went back through time, all I knew of Black Bart was he was the jobber in the WWF.
Right.
And as a jobber in the WWF, he was good at his job. Otherwise, he stunk.
He was also part of the Desperados.
Oh, yeah.
With Deadeye Dick and all that.
That shit was so bad, Stan Hansen was like, fuck it, I'm leaving.
I'm going back to Japan.
I don't care how much money you're paying me. I'm out of here.
I ain't doing that shit.
It is funny, though. Like, the whole story was they're looking for Stan. They're looking for Stan Hansen, and they literally never found him.
When they found him, he was like, no.
Oh, they almost found me. I'm going back to Japan.
I'm going back to Osaka.
Archie, any thoughts on Black Bart before I make my next pick?
I always thought it was such a bland character, like when he was in GWF. And it was just, I don't know. The feud with Bill Irwin wasn't bad, but it was just a bland, don't know where character.
And Aaron and I always part ways on Bill Irwin. I was a Bill Irwin fan. But
I was too up until he became the Goon.
Can I check? Can I have you write down another name, another potential name for the show?
Mm-hmm.
Any thought? Any thoughts on Black Bart?
Dot.
Because Archie was like, no.
Not really.
You caught me off guard. Like, what? No, just move on. Go on, next question.
Yeah. Any thoughts on Black Bart?
Not really.
Well, I'm going to pick my next number. I'll pick the 200s this time. 266. Let's see what we got here. 266. 266 is Damien Demento.
Ooh.
6'2", 258, 2 years pro, not listed last year. Sadistic, sinister in the WWF only occasionally. Especially good at knee drops to the skull with a standing reverse neck breaker as his finishing move. Future appears iffy.
Nate?
Yeah.
I want your honest opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Damien Demento as a gimmick. As a gimmick.
As a gimmick, it's okay. Here's my thing about Damien Demento as a gimmick. Is it any different than the Ultimate Warrior? I'm speaking to the sky. Ultimate Warrior had his whatever they would say it was, like when he's looking to the stars or whatever for answers and et cetera, et cetera. Essentially, he's a schizophrenic.
Well, I understand, but what I'm saying is you have the Damien Demento gimmick, the name, the gimmick, the look, and a better wrestler.
Could have worked.
Does that?
I mean, so.
Yeah, I mean when I watched him back then in '93 or whatever, when he was on Raw and Superstars and everything, he had a really interesting what's the like shoulder pads, like it almost looked like a closing mouth or whatever.
I'll put it this way, okay? Damien Demento, okay, because that was the box of gimmicks. There's no way it wasn't. Okay?
Right.
That was a gimmick that they thought of before they had the person. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So Damien Demento, and you take Damien Demento, the gimmick, and you put it on David Heath.
Right. Somebody that
can fucking work.
Somebody that's gonna maybe because the guy that did it, Mondo Clean, I don't even know his real name. It doesn't matter, but he almost like the schizophrenic thing. He almost took it too cartoony, and he wasn't a good worker.
Yeah.
So,
but you put that gimmick on somebody like David Heath. I'm not saying it's going to be fucking main event in WrestleMania or whatever, but I don't think it's as big of a joke.
Right.
It is now in 2021. You know what I mean?
Well, it might have also been a bad timing for it too, because in '93 you had Garbage Men, you had Plumbers, you had, you know what I mean? There was just too many cartooning. We had Mantar. You know what I mean? So maybe it was the wrong time for like a boogeyman-esque type character that he was supposed to be.
Yeah. And I get that, but what I'm saying is like the Damien Demento character wasn't a bad fucking character.
It wasn't.
Although if you watch a random Raw in '93, folks, listen to this. I'm gonna do my best Howard Finkel impression. It's gonna suck, but it's gonna help me with my joke. Okay, the Bushwhackers are about to come out, right? And Howard Finkel's like, introducing first, Damien Demento and the Repo Man. And I'm just picturing going, what the fuck is this?
Fantastic. Goddamn, Repo Man's a great gimmick too.
Oh, Repo Man's a fantastic gimmick, especially when you are appealing to wrestling fans who generally probably have something getting repossessed.
I will fight somebody if they're like.
I bet Repo Man had serious heel heat in West Virginia. I'm just
I will
saying.
fight somebody if they tell me Repo Man sucked. I will fight you in the alley.
No, Repo Man was just the next best thing that Barry Darsow could have done. It's when he got to WCW and they made him the Blacktop Bully, Mr. Hole in One. You know what I mean? It was like you really Barry Darsow is not a good character. You can't build on that. Give him Smash, give him Repo Man. Oh, he's gold. You know what I mean?
We're gonna talk about Repo Man, but like where they dropped the ball on Repo Man, and they only did it like 1 or 2 times that I remember. Was when they had it, where they dropped the ball was they should have put like he teamed like 1 or 2 times with the $1 Million Man and IRS. They should have left him with him.
That should have been a whole stable. You're right. It should have been Virgil as the bodyguard.
Well, Virgil was done by then.
All right, so you bring in a bigger guy as the bodyguard. Somebody
but like DiBiase and IRS should have
Man and IRS. Right. It would have been Money Inc.
Yeah. It's like, these guys aren't paying their bill. This guy ain't paying his taxes. All right.
And when it stops not working, you actually can turn the Repo Man face for a little bit and have him try to repossess everything DiBiase has.
I just pictured Repo Man in a tow truck, like hoisting someone's car up on on the tow truck, and then you pan out the camera and there's DiBiase, and he's just like,
that's what I'm saying. Well, like how better would it have been when IRS was feuding with the Undertaker and he was at the Tombstone thing or whatever, and Repo Man has that same tow truck and he's just ripping tombstones out of the fucking ground.
Right.
Great. Whose turn?
All right. It is Archie's turn. This is the last turn, so pick wisely, gentlemen.
My mind is telling me to go really, really low.
That's usually the best comedy fodder.
Yeah. Number 13.
Oh, I thought you meant low, like in the 400s.
No.
You meant low.
No, I don't want to end up again with Killer and what was the last guy I got? Adrian Hall.
Yeah. 13?
Yes.
All right. Archie picks 13, and it is... Holy shit. Number 13. Number 13 in the pro. And I guess I don't know. Anyway, we'll talk about this. Number 13 in the PWI 500 for 93 is Marty Jannetty.
Wow.
5'11", 230, 9 years pro. Last year he was number 85. Upset Intercontinental Champion and ex-Rockers teammate Shawn Michaels in one of the year's highlights. Later relinquished the title and dropped the controversial rematch on Monday Night Raw. So
I ain't mad at it.
No, and that's what I was going to say. That's why I kind of stepped back and was like, okay, because him and Shawn had some fantastic matches in 93. 93, him and Waltman were a great tag team against the Quebecers.
Right. Did they beat them for the title for like a week?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Archie, if you were saying something.
No, I just said, didn't they beat them for the titles for like a week?
They did.
Yeah, so.
That, to me, I'll say this. That was the first Raw moment for me. You know what I mean? Where it was like, holy shit, because Shawn was like talking smack or whatever. You guys there?
Yeah, we're.
But that was the first holy shit moment on Raw for me, was when Shawn called anybody out from the crowd and then Marty showed up.
Right.
Like, so I don't have a problem with Marty being number 13.
Mm-hmm. And again, he was he seemed to be in a good mindset in 93, coming out of 92 where he had some issues because it was supposed to be Shawn and Marty at WrestleMania 8. And then, I mean, him and Sean have one of the, I'd say personally, one of my favorite matches of the 90s at Royal Rumble in 93.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like I said, that Raw fucking moment, that's the first Raw
Oh,
moment.
yeah. Yeah, because it was what do you say? It was so different.
Like,
You know,
who comes out of the crowd in the street clothes in a fucking hoodie, and you're just like, what?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So 13 is probably a little high, but I wouldn't say that he shouldn't be in the top 20.
Right.
I wasn't expecting to say Mary. That was
Yeah.
but after you said it and I thought more about it, I'm like, nah, I ain't mad at it. I can dig it.
Couple title runs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
High profile matches. Why not?
Anything else on that, Arch?
No. I always liked Marty. Just wish he would stop murdering people behind Safeways and Taco Bells.
Posting random pictures of himself with African American women saying, "This is my girlfriend."
Right.
It's not your girlfriend. You took a picture at a porn convention, Marty, for Christ's sake.
We met him that night.
Or being like, I hope she's not my daughter because she's really hot.
Yeah. Oof.
My wife.
That's
My
rough.
wife is. The wife is a huge Shawn Michaels fan. Has been forever. And we were going to Icons. Well, I was going to Icons in September.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her Marty Jannetty's going to be there. She's like, do me a favor, find how much it would be for him to call, FaceTime me, because I want to say hi. I'm like, okay. Other wrestlers have done this before. She's a big fan of Marty Skrull. He did that for free. He actually called her on FaceTime. He said hi. You know what I mean? So I go to Marty, I say hello, tell him I've been following him since he was in, AWA and all that. And he's being nice. He's not overly zealous or freaking out or anything. He's not being drugged out Marty yet. And I go, so how much for an 8x10? So he goes, $20. I'm like, okay. Thinking I'll get an 8x10 and I'll see how much he wants to call. I'm like, how much would it be for you to FaceTime my wife at home? She couldn't make it and she wants to meet you. And like, oh, hold on, let me ask my manager. This 4'2" little woman comes from behind the desk. In order for Marty to call your wife on the phone, that'll be $55 for 5 minutes, and then $10 each additional minute after that.
What are we calling? 1-900-909-9900?
I'm like, when did this? What? I'm like, you telling me it's gonna cost $55 to call up and say hi? She's like, yes. I'm like, okay, never mind calling. She's like, so what do you want on the 8x10? I'll be back in 10. I'll be right back. Never went next to him again.
I love that you stiffed Marty Jannetty.
Well, I'm like, $55 to make a phone call? Like, Jesus Christ. Like, Shawn Michaels probably wouldn't even have charged me that much.
Show names: Archie stiffed Marty Jannetty. That's a great story, and I love it. Aaron, your number. Make it good. That's not a number.
I know. I'm thinking. Let's go with
thinking. Yeah.
93.
You say 93?
93.
Well, it's the year that this happened. That's poetic. Yeah.
But
number 93 in 93 is Ron Harris.
Ooh.
6'5", 290, 9 years pro.
This is 93, so this was like the good Harris brothers.
Wait a minute, 6'5". I thought they were both 7 foot.
That's kayfabe.
So they gave him 7 inches in kayfabe? Jesus.
Well, so let's do that.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Sometimes I'm the funniest guy in the room. Anyway.
That was a great fucking joke.
It worked.
That was a good line.
All right.
That's another name you can write down for the fucking
right. 7 inches in kayfabe.
7 inches in kayfabe. They gave him 7 inches in kayfabe.
Yeah, fuck. All right.
You know who didn't?
It's the joke of, hey, she.
I know what you're gonna say before you say.
Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
You tell me to shut up. But she said, give me 12 inches and make it hurt. So I fucked her twice and punched her in the face.
Yeah. No. Mark for
that joke out of the show.
Mark for edit.
You know who didn't get 7 inches in kayfabe? Sonny. He was always real with her.
That went off the rails quick.
Big time.
Kind of my fault. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Fucking Ron Harris. I should pick another number because we can't use any of that.
He and brother Don comprise the Bruise Brothers.
You know what I love?
Jim
Nate goes from I'm the funniest guy in the room sometimes to the biggest straight man ever. Him and brother Don.
That's why Aaron always compares me to Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, so the Harris brothers, him and brother Don.
He and brother Don comprise the Bruise Brothers, Jim Cornette's latest creation and current Smoke Mountain Tag Team champs. Tough brawler.
All right. Jesus Christ.
Former
none of that happened.
Pacific Northwest champion.
7 inches of kayfabe and Jesus.
That's my new show name. 7 inches in kayfabe.
Here is Archie Mitchell and Dan Gleason with
7 inches in kayfabe. Oh no!
All right.
I always liked the Harris boys. I thought they were a really good tag team. I think WWE dropped the ball with them 4 times because they had them as the Blue Twins, then the Harris brothers, then 8 Ball and Chains.
But they were also the Grimm Twins.
The Grimm Twins, yes, 4 different times. You know, it was like let them get at least let them win the titles one time. You know, and let them show off a little bit.
Let them show off their 7 inches of kayfabe.
Jesus Christ.
All right, Nate, you're up next. It's your last one.
Blue ball.
All right.
Twins. Good.
Last number. Let me think here. 197.
Don Harris.
Yeah.
197 in the 93 PWI 500. Oh, we've already talked about him tonight as well. Jim Neidhart. 6'1", 275, 14 years pro. Last year he was number 121. Bret Hart's former tag partner has lately wrestled for Independence and WCW, as Aaron referred to.
Yeah.
A straight-ahead brawler, the Anvil is so-so in singles, at his best with an ideal teammate. And that's something I will say. Neidhart, at the end of the day, is a much more effective tag team wrestler than a singles
All day
wrestler.
long. All day long.
Like him and Owen, they were a good team.
Yeah.
Like they looked ridiculous. But they were a good team, and like I said, I wasn't trying to say like Jim Neidhart could have been like Intercontinental Champion or anything as a single star. I was just saying like head on straight. You know, Jim Neidhart probably could have been a better singles wrestler than he was.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, and you watch him in either Stampede or Mid-South, and you can definitely see that.
Yeah.
And it's actually kind of cool to watch, like, before the Hart Foundation forms.
Like when he was
Not
like Fuji?
Yeah, when he was with Fuji in the WWF. That's interesting.
Yeah.
You know?
It is.
But,
It was a pretty decent dynamic between the two of them.
But like I'm saying,
It was the goatees.
Yeah.
but it's also the fact that it probably would have never worked because Jim Neidhart was an insane person.
Yes, and Fuji would have ribbed him too much. And
Well, I'm just saying in general, Jim Neidhart was a fucking Looney Tune. Like as a human being, he's a fucking Looney Tune. Like, you know how we talk about Randy Savage, you know, how Randy Savage died? Where it's like you don't want anybody to die, you know. But knowing that Randy Savage was in his like Jeep Tracker or whatever and had a massive heart attack, went across 4 lanes of traffic, hit a guy on a fucking motorcycle and slammed into a palm tree. Like, how else would you expect Randy Savage to die?
Yes, the cream always rises to the top. Yeah.
Like, this dude had a heart attack in a Jeep Tracker, went across 4 lanes of traffic, hit a guy on a motorcycle, and slammed into a palm tree. That's how Randy Savage is supposed to die.
This got real dark real fast.
No.
What happened?
I'm saying, how else is he supposed to die? Like, oh, he was up on a hill.
On a Slim Jim?
And he just had a mild heart attack and died. That's boring. It's boring.
He went out the way he lived.
Neidhart's wife said, Jim stood up from the bed, looked at me, spun around, looked like he was doing the twist dance, fell, and died.
Is this really what she said?
Like, basically, she said he stood up, looked like he started dancing, and then hit the ground. It's like, that is how he needs to go. Neidhart shouldn't die silently in his sleep. He should stand up and look like he is doing the twist and then violently fall to the floor. That's how these people should leave.
Okay. Damn, man.
I'm just saying. I'm not being dark. I'm saying it like I want to die in a crazy fashion.
All right. So, okay. So wait. When I'm like 65, like most men in my family do, when I pass away quietly and sitting in a chair, you're like, it wasn't hardcore enough. He should have went. He should have went eat like a large pie or something like that.
Yeah. Like, I want to know that Archie Mitchell died eating a gigantic pizza and did some crazy fucking flip and died.
Wow.
Like,
I can't do a flip. I'm too big.
Go.
I can't do a flip. In kayfabe, I could do a flip.
But I'm just saying, like, I'm not being dark, but I'm just saying, isn't that
No,
like
I agree with you, though. Yeah,
like, if I told you, oh, the Macho Man Randy Savage died peacefully in a bunk bed, sleeping, I'd be like, God damn it.
Why was he in a bunk bed?
I don't know.
No, I know. That was my first question. Nate, you can't lie. You know that would have been your first question, too. Why was he in a bunk bed?
But
was Lanny there?
Yeah, was Lanny on the top bunk?
Lanny would have been on the top bunk.
Randy?
Aren't those two of the coolest fucking stories ever?
Yes.
Okay.
Anvil. Let's do the twist.
Yeah, Lady Brett said he stood up out of bed and then looked like he started dancing and then hit the ground. That's fucking fantastic. If you've ever seen Ellie Hart, she looks like Lady Brett.
I've seen Ellie Hart. She doesn't look. She looks like it was either his sister, but she doesn't look like a Lady Brett.
She looks like Lady Bret Hart. Hey.
I'm doing the sign off for this show now. I want to thank.
Now, wait a minute. I want to hear from the fans real quick. I'm going to put up a poll once Aaron's NWA title tournament is done. I want to petition for us to do an all-night recording but of all the shows. Not all of them, obviously, because David Gold probably won't have any time, or a lot of the Asylum guys will be busy. I'd like us to do a slice of time, the year that was, If You Smell What the Art is Cooking, and We Can't Wrestle podcast, all in one night. Start at like 10, 11 o'clock at night, and just go for like 4 or 5 hours straight.
Archie proposed to this to me earlier, and I said, imagine the insanity of the last show.
Right. And I said that would probably be the best episode of that show ever.
Of any podcast ever.
Of any podcast ever, right. And Chris Candido, Aaron would be like, shit, I'm out of beer. And then we just
I'm never out of beer.
you snowball.
Oh, God.
I'm sleeping in a plastic tote. Just
Nate, wake up. We got to end the show to start at 1. What?
Thank you for joining us on We Can't Wrestle, the slice of wrestling.
I'm telling you guys, Randy Savage has the best wrestling death.
Oh, my God.
All right. So, that being said, Aaron.
Nate.
Other than the death of Randy Savage, do you have any parting words for our listeners this week?
Just like I said before, Happy New Year. Keep on listening. You guys have any? This is the thing. This is the only thing I got. We encourage and want interaction. Give us more interaction. Positive, negative. Actually, negative is even funnier. I love negative interaction. Give me as much negative interaction as you can give me. Tell me everything you hate. I want to hear it.
Archie?
Happy New Year to everybody. You guys continue to support all of our podcasts here on WrestleNet Radio and We Can't Wrestle podcast. And whatever you do, don't ever let anybody give you 7 inches in kayfabe.
Respect yourself, damn it.
Right.
We also trailed off of something that we said we were going to do, and I'm going to bring it back.
Okay.
Is we've stopped asking each other the question of the week.
Good point.
That will return.
It's going to return right now, real quick.
No.
Yes.
No.
Real quick. It's going to be really, 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 really quick.
There's nothing really quick about this show.
Yes.
Ever.
Listen.
Ever.
Listen, Linda.
Ever.
Who had the better sideburns? Andre the Giant. Stan Stasiak.
Okay.
Or Harley Race.
Bloated Elvis.
No, wrestling. Wrestling. Who has the better sideburns? Andre the Giant. Stan Stasiak. Harley Race.
I'm going with Harley Race.
Harley Race, and here's why.
Stan Stasiak sideburns with a fucking shit.
No, Harleys were better because they also became a mustache.
I know, but Stan's
right.
They were Stan's alone, man. They were Stan's alone sideburns. They were fucking pimp.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
And don't forget, of course, to check out all the other shows on the WrestleNet Radio Podcast Network, including If You Smell What the Arch is Cooking with Mr. Archie Mitchell and Mark Brew, Reliving the Extreme with myself, Aaron, and Chad Austin of ECW, Slice of Time with myself talking about 25 years ago in professional wrestling, Maximum Gold. All right, there's too many podcasts on this network for right now. But that being said, check them all out. Join the group there, the WrestleNet Radio Podcast Network.
All of those podcasts.
If you're not a member of the We Can't Wrestle Podcast Network, also join us there, the Facebook group. And that being said, we're going to sign off this week. Happy New Year, everybody. The Hall of Fame is coming.
When's the Hall of Shame?
Woo-hoo.
June. But the Hall of Fame is coming, along with more trivia. I want to do a trivia episode. But we will see you next week. Thank you for joining us on the We Can't Wrestle podcast.
Eat it, Skeeters.